Ready, set, go!
Alright guys, we got some pretty interesting news for those of you guys that are longtime gamers. So Naughty Dog co-president and HBO's The Last of Us executive producer quits. Evan Wells, if you guys know who this guy is, he's been at Naughty Dog for a really long time. So we're going to dive into this. Before we jump to this video, guys, make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe, hit that bell icon. My relationship with Naughty Dog, like some of you guys, has been a roller coaster of emotions. However, they were a massive part of my childhood, all the way up until The Last of Us 2. You already know I'm infamous for that one. So he announces his departure from the studio later this year, and this was only published a day ago. So Naughty Dog, creators of Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, The Last of Us. Evan Wells, the co-president of Naughty Dog and executive producer of The Last of Us on HBO, has announced his departure, where he has spent most of his career. Wells, who has been with the studio since the late 1990s, has been a part of numerous major games and series. His credits include Crash Bandicoot Warped, which in my opinion was the best out of all of them too, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, and The Last of Us. So he's been there for all of these heavy hitters. Wells originally joined Naughty Dog as a lead designer and then promoted to co-president in 2004. Under his leadership, the studio released some of its most successful titles, most recently The Last of Us Part 2, which is successful. Last year, Wells got into TV and film production, serving as an executive director for the Uncharted movie and the HBO's new series based on The Last of Us. So these guys did kind of help bridge that gaming and movie gap a bit. And he was a part of season 1 Last of Us, which was super successful and super viral early in this year. I watched up to episode 2 or 3, and then once we got to Billstown, I was out. But anyway, he's earned his praise, and now after a long and successful career, he's announced his retirement from Naughty Dog. And let's see, as we scroll through, in a statement released on July 11th, Wells revealed that he was going to be stepping away at the end of this year. In an open letter, he reflected on his career and thanked his colleagues and friends at the studio for all of their hard work and support. He also expressed confidence in the studio and his Naughty Dog co-president Neil Druckmann, who will soon be leading the studio on his own. So for me, rest in peace Naughty Dog, because Neil Druckmann, as soon as he entered the scene, that's where Naughty Dog took a nosedive. As much as people love The Last of Us, if you really look at it, the writing that he did with The Last of Us 2, opinionated, I'll get into that later on, but Amy Hennig, I have a feeling, wrote that story, and I'll tell you why later on, because there was drama with that earlier. But the tones of Wells' letter was bittersweet, expressing both sadness at the end of an era, but also excitement and optimism for the future. The announcement gave no specific date for his departure or his plans, but he did say he's looking forward to seeing what the studio will accomplish after he's gone, or he's jumping ship. While Wells explained that he's been discussing this present with co-president Neil Druckmann for a long time, his decision has come to a surprise, as they thought that since The Last of Us 3 is in development, that maybe even a sci-fi game might be happening, or a new project for HBO. He's stepping away from a lot of these projects, and they're saying there's no indication of how this will impact the company's leadership or future for Naughty Dog projects. Teased by Druckmann, and it seems that he'll be continuing his role for a few more months, and if no other things are changed, then Druckmann will become the sole head of the studio, who has a long list of accomplishments through the years of Naughty Dog. So remember, Neil Druckmann was supposed to originally go and recreate Jak and Daxter, then he ended up on The Last of Us. And what happened was, around that time, that's when Amy Hennig had left the studio, and that's where people were saying, yo, she wrote this game, because it seems like it's in line with Uncharted's writing, masculine presence and everything like that. As soon as Druckmann came onto the scene, he took credit for it, but if he did write it, okay, good. He did a good story with The Last of Us. Then it looks like somebody completely different wrote The Last of Us 2, and even with his ego, put himself into the game. Like, he put himself into a game as such a mid character. Like, he was the Meg of that video game. But let me show you something. This is Evan Wells, and this is the original squad in the Naughty Dog studio. Before, I have to say rest in peace to Naughty Dog, which is ironic because Naughty Dog is named after the dog in their office. Or they always would say rest in peace to Morgan the dog at the end of the Jak and Daxter games, Crash Bandicoot, and I think even Uncharted for one of them. That's what it was all about. But these were like the original guys. These two right here, and then there's Evan Wells.
He knows all the commands.
Like, so it's the original founders are Evan Wells, Jason Rubin, and Andrew Gavin. Those two had left. These two were the real heads of the company, and then it went to Evan Wells and Neil Druckmann. So I think right after Jak and Daxter, that's when they kind of jumped ship. These guys are super cool. Like they came out of the Tony Hawk era, the skater era, the 90s. So they still got like that vibe that I can't really explain, but you already know what I'm getting at. It's the 90s vibe. They know what they were doing. Geniuses right here. But I remember watching like some of the interviews, right, with these two, right? I know at least Jason Rubin, I believe he's working on like VR projects. He already knew from the jump, like years ago, VR is going to be the next best thing. But he's still in the game industry. Andy Gavin, I'm not sure. Let me know what he's doing in the comments. But this is the making of.
Even been named yet, you know. It just had like, you know.
This is Evan Wells right here. Check it.
Oh, we had everyone draw.
Wait, here it is. 1999, after selling millions of copies of Crash Bandicoot, they began working on the series Jak and Daxter, which was my favorite game series of all time.
Brainstormed after the close of Crash Team Racing, and we're looking at the PlayStation 2 hardware. We're like, okay, this world has to be seamless. We don't want any loads. It's got to feel immersive, and we don't want there to ever be a break from the action or a chance for you to say, oh, now's the time for me to put down the controller. I finished that level, you know, and you're just always in the world. It's always on. There's a day and night cycle, so it's always changing and evolving, and you really feel like you're part of that world. So those were, from the very beginning, before we even knew who Jak was, who Daxter was, you know, what the world was going to be like, that was the feeling that we wanted to invoke.
So his head was all straight there. I don't know what happened when Neil Druckmann took over, but like, look at the squad.
Yeah,
they were pretty cool.
Jak and Daxter came out, I think there was a lot of excitement because it was sort of PlayStation owners' chance to play a game that is more traditionally associated with like a Nintendo release.
It was pretty nerve-wracking because it was really.
So you guys can go watch the whole video, but this was like the original squad that we knew growing up with Naughty Dog, with all of the known titles. This was the original squad, and they're pretty much gone now. Long time dogs, all gone. All of them are gone, and now it's in the hands of Neil Druckmann, who we know has now, going into my opinion, it's a split community, but The Last of Us 2 was trash, and it just literally split and divided everything because the writing is flipped upside its head. It has its own agenda. And you guys already know I'm infamous for that one. I ended up on the front page of Reddit with my Last of Us 2 review, and especially with what he did with the show, it's also split decisions with that one too. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this right here is the face of Neil Druckmann's writing right here. These two, and whatever this is, the Abby butt sex is Neil Druckmann's legacy, and that is where I believe Naughty Dog is headed, right into Abby's butthole, right into the gutter. So. Yo, Naughty Dog, for the memories that we had from Crash Bandicoot through Jak and Daxter, which is my favorite game series, and Uncharted, and the first The Last of Us with the father-daughter vibe, I loved all of that. As soon as the DLC and then Last of Us Part 2 came out, that's where I just was like, I give up on that company because they are not the same studio. It's not even the same people working in there. It's the same name. Like, it's the same house. Like, if you lived in a house when you were a kid and you moved out and somebody else moved in there, same house, different people. Different people, different vibe. So that's what it is right now. I think the studio is pretty much done for me. I don't support anything Naughty Dog related because of everything that they're kind of pushing and their politics and their agendas that they're blatantly pushing and how trash the writing is. It's not the same. I feel like Crash Bandicoot as a mute is better than anything that they've put out in the past 10 years since The Last of Us 2. I mean, since The Last of Us 1, my fault. The Last of Us 2 came out within these years. Last of Us 1 came out 2013. It's 2023. 10 years have come out. And I think Crash Bandicoot as a mute is better than this. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I think Naughty Dog's run was, about 30 years right here. And it was a good run. It was a good run. Maybe 25 or even 20 if you guys want to count it. If you want to just subtract the past 10. So, man, it feels kind of bittersweet because every time you see Naughty Dog stamped across the box, you knew you was in for an adventure, with whether it be Crash Bandicoot, whether it be Jak and Daxter or Uncharted, or in that first one. That Naughty Dog logo was one of the best things you could possibly see, and even the name was badass. And I love dogs too. Every time you see at the end of the game in the credits how awesome the company was, for like, rest in peace for the company dog Morgan. That's where I felt like the soul of it was, and now that's kind of up and gone. But yo, Evan Wells, you were a part of some of these great projects. I don't know how involved you were really with The Last of Us 2 and stuff like that, but I thank you for everything. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But I think Naughty Dog is a sinking ship. Even though they're getting like 200+ million for their games and budgets and TV shows and massive amounts of critical numbers and success, I think the soul for the company is gone. Anyway, I'll be catching you guys next time, all right? Peace. Young Money.